confirm that news. Andrews is out for the season. So I put that down. Yeah.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome on in. It's the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Of course, we're proud to be a part of ESPN's Utah Radio Network. I'm Scott Mitchell filling in for Sean today. Of course, you hear that intro music and you're aware of that. But as I hear that, I'm always wondering, why do they need to bring in the left-hander? Like they never go, hey, let's bring in the right-hander. It's like it's something different, I guess. I guess I'm a different person. Actually, being left-handed, it comes with its challenges, with its perks, with its prejudice, and it's one of those things. But usually, they bring in the lefty when they want things fixed, and that's what they're saying. So, not that things are broken here. I mean, I love Sean and his show; he does an amazing job. But I'm here. He's out, and so I'm here to fix the day. Welcome to the program. If you miss any part of the show, it's live streamed on ESPN700sports.com, so you can get it there. You can also get it at the ESPN 700 app on your smart speaker. Just tell to play ESPN 700. And of course, we are on YouTube at ESPN 700 Sports Utah. Of course, technology is a beautiful thing, and you don't miss a moment of anything, and you don't want to miss a moment. A lot of fun today. We are going to cover sports like nobody else, and we're going to give thoughts and opinions. We're going to talk to some folks that are going to dazzle your mind, and so buckle up and let's go. We got a lot of fun to talk about. Just by way of announcement, the Sean O'Connell Show is now brought to you proudly by Big Willie's Sports Bar in Salt Lake. From craft food to craft cocktails, they are the sports bar. Check them out today, 1717 South Main Street here in Salt Lake. So they're awesome. And I believe they're bringing some food by later today, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to get a little hot lunch. So,
Yeah, it's BGR, so not Big Willie's. It
okay.
is not the hot lunch that sponsor this week, but they have been in the
Gotcha.
past. BGR Burgers Grilled Right is bringing in some burgers later today that we'll talk about.
Thank you for the correction.
Yeah,
That
of
is
course.
James, by the way. And all that's important to us is that we're fed. That's why I do this show. They feed me. If you feed, it's really simple for me. There's really two things that are motivating to me in life. Food is one of them, and you can figure out what the other one is. I'll leave it to your imagination. It's a family show. We're not going to get into that today, but yeah, two things.
So
Those two
food
things,
more
and
than
life
money
is
for all of us, Scott. We do like the money doesn't matter that much as long as we're getting free food, right?
yes, absolutely. Okay. This is always an interesting time of year with the NFL, and they come out with nominations for the Hall of Fame. And some years you go, yeah, I can see that. And then there are other years you're like, dude, what are you thinking? So, notable first timers: Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, and Philip Rivers. Now this is an interesting group. Aside from Drew Brees, none of these guys, like, these guys had prolific careers, but they come without championships. And I think one of the um maybe most debatable, or is it debatable, is Philip Rivers. Because Philip Rivers had a remarkable career. And Philip Rivers, like, threw for a bazillion yards, never won a championship. Now, why I say this is interesting, because his other contemporary at the time was Eli Manning, right? Remember that Eli goes, "I'm not going to that team. You're not going to get," like, has just has have you ever been to San Diego, Eli? Like, San Diego, California is one of my favorite places in the world. Like, why are you ragging on the Chargers? And I mean, I get it. Some organizations, but who cares? Go live in La Jolla. Go live at the beach. Go throw for a bazillion yards. You can go to SeaWorld, and you go to the San Diego Zoo, which is world renowned. It's a beautiful place. So that's going to be interesting to see if Philip Rivers gets in the Hall of Fame, because Eli didn't last year, right? Do we know if Eli is on the list again this year? These are the first timers, right?
He is. Eli is returning. He was a finalist last year. You're correct. Finalist means in the top 15, and I think at most they're only allowed to induct 5 each year, if I'm not mistaken, Scott. So top 15, he was basically in the last 10 out, as was Steve Smith, former Ute, in both of their first time being nominated, first time eligible for Hall of Fame nominations. So he is one of the nominees once again, and he's got a really good chance to make it, having been a finalist, eliminated, so to speak, in the final round of voting last year. So, and I think you're dead on with that. If Eli's a Hall of Famer, a lot of people say then Philip Rivers is too, but the championships and the playoff performances of Eli, for me, wholly outweigh what Philip Rivers did in the regular season, which is what they were about even in the regular season. A lot of people think Philip Rivers was a much better quarterback. I think it was about the same. Eli won 2 championships and 2 of the best playoff performances we've seen from a quarterback in both of those runs ever. So like statistically. So that to me makes Eli more of a Hall of Famer than Philip Rivers. But it's an interesting debate for sure.
Well, it would be completely ironic if both of them went into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
In the same year.
Having been
But
traded for each other on draft night, like you said, like it absolutely would be.
and I don't know. It's kind of weird for me because I have these quirky things. Like, Philip Rivers' throwing motion is just, it's kind of odd. Like, it just, here's this big, strong guy, and believe me, he was very effective, but his throwing motion was almost like, I don't know, his arm didn't fully develop, and he could only throw it from a short distance. But that will be an interesting one. And Eli's throwing motion, was a little awkward too. I mean, it was long and flowy and whatever. But here's the crazy part about this. So it'll be interesting to see if both of those players move on. But there's 128 players that were nominated. And did you know, like, I could be nominated for the Hall of Fame? So you can nominate anyone. You just there's a whole process. You just go and you nominate a player. For example, here are the quarterbacks. So there's 10 quarterbacks that were actually nominated this year for the Hall of Fame, and you may recognize a name or two on here. Drew Brees, of course, Randall Cunningham, Jake Delhomme, Rich Gannon, Jeff Garcia, Eli Manning, Donovan McNabb, Steve McNair, Philip Rivers, and Alex Smith, Utah's own Alex Smith. Now, I think if you go through that list and you go, it would be hard to put any one of those quarterbacks other than Drew Brees, Eli Manning, and Philip Rivers in the Hall of Fame. You maybe argue Donovan McNabb. I think a sentimental choice might be Steve McNair. Rich Gannon, it was late, not a, he was good later in his career. Jake Delhomme, no. Jeff Garcia, I just don't see it. But that's kind of a fascinating list of people on the list there.
Scott,
they're 21 running backs.
Yeah, that's crazy. Scott, were you ever nominated
for the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, but my point is I could nominate myself.
Yeah, you could still be nominated at this point. Absolutely.
See, here's what you do. This is a pro move right here, James. You nominate yourself for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go around and you say NFL Hall of Fame nominee.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Just make that your title. We had Sly on the show as we normally do on the station a bunch, but I remember a couple of years ago, and it was around Super Bowl week, and so we were calling him Super Bowl runner-up, Stevenson Sylvester. And he could, if that's something that he took it as a compliment. Some people might not. we were kind of being tongue in cheek with it, but if that's something you're super proud of, which you should be, that could be your title.
Yeah, I just realized this on the show. This is something that I should look into. I know that I can actually do it. I can nominate. I can be nominated for the. I mean, anyone can be nominated.
Yeah.
For the Hall of Fame.
I agree with you, though. It really does feel like, what'd you say, those three guys, Brees, Eli, and Rivers?
Yeah.
And the rest of those guys, McNabb, I could see end up getting as a semifinalist or something like that because he had an incredible career. Everyone else, it feels like, Dan Patrick show jokes that they should make a Hall of Very Good. And that's what the rest. That's what the rest of the. You're not a Hall of Famer, but you were very good.
You were pretty darn
so
good.
That's what guys like our guy Alex Smith. That's probably where he belongs.
Well, everyone on that list
Garcia
is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's and that's the. So as athletes, you're like super competitive, right? And the Hall of Fame is hard for me, because that's a dream. That's something. And I see contemporaries go into the Hall of Fame, and I go, boy, I would love to give that speech. And you know that, and it's not diminishing from the talent or anything there. It's because they just, I would say 95% of Hall of Famers deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't believe all of them deserve to be in there. If you're basing it off of criteria, but what's hard is, a lot of players got into the right situations. And I always bring up the one about Steve Young, and Steve Young's talked about this but before. He's playing with his Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're not very good. And he gets traded to the 49ers. And if he doesn't ever get traded, I'm not sure that Steve Young has the kind of career he has. And that he was in the right situation there with Montana and that whole system and that time in the NFL. And so you look at this and you go, only if I would have had, had I been in that situation. I mean, look at a guy like Brett Favre. Brett Favre had Mike Holmgren just said, I believe in you. And he said, we're going to sink or swim together. And he really bought into Brett Favre, because if you remember, Brett Favre was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, and Jerry Glanville didn't even know his name. And they realized they drafted the wrong quarterback. And he said, his time. So had Brett Favre not been traded, who knows where Brett Favre would have ended up? Maybe Brett Favre has a good career. Maybe he doesn't. You just don't know. And so much of your ultimate success. The, I guess my point is, if you play in the NFL and you play and have any kind of longevity, any kind of production success, you're pretty freaking good. And I think the NFL recognizes that because they actually talk about players. They call all the players legends. And it is kind of hard, when you see these players and everyone knows like they're fortunate that they were on good teams and they were in good systems. But they were also really good. There's some players that would just be good no matter what, no matter where. But especially for quarterbacks, it's so much of being in the right situation, um, that you're in. Now, offensive lineman. There's one guy here. I got to point him out because he's a former teammate of mine, and it's. I love this debate about the Hall of Fame. So Richmond Webb is on the list and has been on the list, and he was close a year ago. And I really pull for Rich. We were drafted the same year. He was plugged in as at the left tackle from his rookie year, and he was just a mountain. And he shut down some of the biggest names in football, Lawrence Taylor and Chris Dolman and Reggie White. I mean, he went through, I think his first 5 games, the top 5 defensive ends in the NFL at the time, Bruce Smith, and he shut them all down. I mean, he was voted Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Richmond was just one, an incredible human being, and two, just a really good player. I mean, I'd take Richmond Webb on my offensive line any day of the week, and yet he is a guy. His career maybe wasn't as long, it wasn't whatever, but then you see some of these guys who like Sterling Sharp, who has a short career, and he gets in, and it took some time, or Terrell Davis, who was the running back for the Broncos, and so it's a hard thing to figure out how and why and when guys are picked. Now I know the process. There's a whole committee. They whittle it down to 50, then they whittle it down to um, the actual players.
It's
Um,
it's 50, then 25. 25 are the semifinalists. If you hear someone being a Hall of Fame semifinalist, that's your top 25 of the nominees, and then 15 are the finalists, and then like I said, I think it's minimum of 3, maximum of 5 every year.
yeah, well, between 4 and 8 new players every year.
Is it 8? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe what I read, wherever I read 3 to 5 was a little off.
Well, three to five is what you get for your first offense in your criminal activity.
There you go.
Maybe
That's what I was thinking of, Scott. I
Yeah.
was thinking of my
Yeah.
3 to 5 coming up here. No,
They only put you on probation, so you still got a chance.
you're right.
Yeah, so it's quite a process. I've actually been involved in this process before, where because it's and this is what I kind of have a hard time with it. The committee is mostly made up of sports writers, and no offense to sports writers, but like you're viewing the game not understanding kind of all of the parameters that go into it, and knowing like who really is a good player, and they watch and they know and they're involved in whatever. But I've had people call me and on numerous occasions discussing a player who was up for nomination to the Hall of Fame, and they were like, so how is this guy to play against, or how is this guy as whatever? So it's quite a process. They do take it seriously, but clearly it's man, it's a tough deal. I mean, I look here like Jason Hanson, who I played with the Detroit Lions, kicked for he was in his 40s. He was a pretty prolific kicker. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't know. I mean, I really like Jason, but I'm not sure he's a Hall of Famer. Is Steve Smith a Hall of Famer? Do you think Steve Smith's a Hall of Famer?
I think he is. He's I think one of 3 guys with. I should have this stat pulled up, but it's like certain amount of yardage, certain amount of touchdowns in his career, which like that's elite. Now, of course, no Super Bowls. He did make it to a Super Bowl, and when like his rookie year or his second year with the Panthers, with Jake Delhomme as quarterback, another one of the nominees here.
Yeah.
So he did get there, but he played for so long. He was a top 5 receiver in yardage and some of those years touchdowns. So many of those years with both the Panthers and the Ravens late in his career. I think Steve Smith's a Hall of Fame guy. Conversely, I don't think Phillip Rivers is. Even though he's got all the passing yards, I feel like that's more of the amount of passing yards he has and those stats are more of a reflection of how much easier it was to accumulate that stuff as quarterback in his era, not so much about his greatness. But yeah, a lot of people think no doubt Hall of Famer Phillip Rivers, maybe not no doubt Hall of Famer Steve Smith. I'm kind of opposite on that.
So you have Dan Marino, didn't win a championship, threw for a bazillion yards, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you right now, Dan Marino's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like that's my whole point. Like, and it's a talent thing too. You know what? It's like, and not that Phillip Rivers isn't talented, but there was something just different about Dan Marino. He's like just special. Like it. Gosh, it's a hard conversation because you say, well, there was something about Phillip Rivers. It was just done in a different fashion. Maybe it's maybe it's the flair and the fashion. Maybe it's the notoriety. You know, Marino threw for a bazillion yards in an era when no one did. So it's interesting. Here's another local guy that I think is interesting. Jordan Gross.
Oh
so
yeah, shout out Jordan Gross. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
great guy.
A great player in the NFL. I mean, you know, I think being an offensive lineman is a really that's a tough one for some reason. And you've got some great names on here. I mean, you've got Willie Anderson, who I played with in Cincinnati, Lomas Brown, who I played with in Detroit. Yeah, I don't know if Lomas is a Hall of Famer, and it's not. I don't know.
This is such a the other reason this is a hard conversation to have, Scott, is when you say like I just did and what you just did about Lomas Brown, what I said about Phillip Rivers, you about Lomas Brown, it makes it sound like we're saying they weren't very good.
Right.
No, you're just not. You're like, of course you were really good. You're nominated for the Hall of Fame. Like, of course we think that. It's just Hall of Fame is like the top of the top, and it's rare. Like even the really good guys are very good, not Hall of Fame. Shout out to Dan Patrick's show.
It almost feels like some years that they just have to force someone to be a Hall of Famer. Like there're just some years that you just go, yeah, really? Are they? You know, and it's almost like, oh, we got to have somebody. You know, we got to have.
Yeah, we got to get to the 4 guys, the minimum of 4 guys. We have this year there wasn't 4 no doubt guys, so we're putting this guy in. Yeah.
See now, like I think Drew Brees is yes.
Yeah.
And I think Larry Fitzgerald is yes. Wide receiver. So these are first timers, right?
Yeah, those 2 feel like no doubt first ballot guys. Yeah.
But Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Phillip Rivers, and they all had like extremely prolific careers. But in my mind, I've never sat there and said, yeah, but these are Hall of Famers. And I, you know, tight end's a hard one for me too because there's so many good tight ends, and tight end has kind of changed over time, and it's like, what really is a good what is a good tight end? You know, I don't know. I really don't know.
Especially, you know, I was talking about Phillip Rivers probably benefiting a bunch from the era he played in as quarterback, and the rule changes and all that, favoring the passing game and quarterbacks. You kind of feel that way with the role of the tight end a little bit too, because tight ends very traditionally were, you know, helping with blocking, right, in the run game and stuff.
Exactly.
And in the last, 20 years, they've become an extra receiver, and still helping with blocking some, but but their main role, the guys who we think of as Hall of Famers, are not the guys who are great blockers. We think they're the guys that were slot receivers, basically, at tight end.
Okay, so Willie Anderson, Torrey Holt, Luke Kaliki,
Kuechly, yeah.
Kuechly, and Adam Vinatieri advanced to the final 15. So they already they reached the final 7 for the class of 22. So they're automatically getting the final 15 for this year. So they don't have to go through this whole procedure again. And quite frankly, Adam Vinatieri, like I'm taking Adam Vinatieri over David Akers, Gary Anderson, Jason Hansen, John Casey, Sean Landetta, every single one of those guys. And those are the punter kickers right now. But Adam Vinatieri, to me, now that's a Hall of Famer to me. That guy had more clutch kicks and more and winning Super Bowls and the consistency with which he played, like that's just a hands down. And again, not that these other players are bad, but man, that's not even a hard one. Now there's one here. So Troy Vincent I played with in Miami, and Troy was a good player. I don't think Troy is a Hall of Famer, but I think that part of Troy is he works for the NFL. He works,
yeah.
And it's like okay, you're kind of it's
contributions to the game as well as his play, maybe a little bit.
Well, he's like if I'm in the NFL front office, I'm
getting on this list.
I'm getting on the list. But I don't think Troy Vincent is a Hall of Fame defensive back at all. I do not at all. So, very, very fascinating list.
So off air, when I gave you some of the highlights, I put it on the rundown for us. You saw Alex Smith and went, that's another guy that you went, yeah, not a Hall of Famer. Obviously really good. Ended up having a really good career. I say ended up because his first 6 years were terrible and a lot of it out of his control, but then had a really nice end of his career, right? Pro Bowl,
Alex is a good
Pro
example.
Bowler and all that. But I love that he was nominated because I would think that he's even a borderline nominee, and so it's great that he gets this honor as a nominee. But I think that's as far as it goes, right, Scott? I don't know if he moves on to the top 50.
Yeah, probably not. But he's a great example of what I was talking about before. I mean, Rich Gannon's kind of the same way. Rich Gannon, journeyman guy most of his career. Then late in his career, he finds the right system for him with the Raiders. Finds John Gruden and really kind of blossoms into maybe his full potential. The other one,
MVP at the end of his career.
Yeah, and you look at Alex, the same thing. He's in a tough situation, first pick in the draft, massive expectations, but really wasn't in the right situation. And of course, you have the I would even call it an honor to go and play for Andy Reid, and that's just in the mass. If there's ever a quarterback friendly system, it's there. And of course, you get the talent of Patrick Mahomes and the talent of Andy Reid, and you put them together, and boom, lightning strikes. And Alex was, took him to a championship, conference championship, and so. And I think part of Alex too is it's a real good feel good story. Alex goes to Washington and just has that horrific accident, injury, and comes back from it. But and that's the problem with some of the voting is some of it's sentimental, some of it's popularity, some of it's just recency or you're out in the public eye kind of is Jimmy Johnson really a Hall of Fame coach or is it that he was with Fox and he was there for all those years and
and that he won with the Cowboys matters too, like guys who won Super Bowls as coaches. I mean, George Seifert, Ute, right? Niners Super Bowl winning head coach, ton of wins, ranks really high at all-time winningest coaches. He's not even really sniffed the Hall of Fame. But Jimmy Johnson, and he coached a lot longer. Jimmy Johnson won two in a 3-year span, or yeah, two in a 3-year span, gets fired after that. But because he did it for the Cowboys, it makes it a lot more famous, right? Which makes people go, yeah, Hall of Fame, of course.
Yeah, fascinating challenge and dilemma. Anyone who gets in has my utmost respect, and it's just early in the process. It actually the season's just starting, and it doesn't get announced until right before the Super Bowl. So fun and good for all those people that are up there and considered, and they all deserve it.
And
All right.
you and I will start making some calls to get you nominated next year, Scott. How about that?
I'm all for it. Look,
Let's go.
I don't care. I have no shame at this point in my life. I would love to be Hall of Fame nominated quarterback.
Down and
I think
dirty
it's
with Scott Mitchell, Hall of Fame
yes,
nominated quarterback.
love it. All right, Roxy Bernstein's joining us next. That'll be a fun conversation here on the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 792.1 FM. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. This is Scott Mitchell here, filling in for Sean. And this is Sean's show, the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792 on FM. Of course, Sean is off on secret assignment with the government. I'm not allowed to say which branch of the government, and I'm not allowed to tell people that. So let's just keep it between us that he's gone for those various reasons. He's gone, not forgotten. And I'll tell you who isn't forgotten is none other than Roxy Bernstein. He, of course, broadcasts everything that is sports around the entire world. He's knowledgeable on all things, and he is so gracious to come and join the show today. Roxy, welcome. How you doing?
I'm good, Scott. All points in between, we'll keep an eye out for OC. But, unfortunately, when you let that out of the bag, it lets the millions of listeners that you have kind of clue them in also. So that's not what you're supposed to let them know where Sean's at, right?
Well, that's kind of the joke. It's like Sean's off. He picked a fight with someone. He's off.
Yeah.
He's off fighting.
We know where he's at.
Yeah. So Roxy's not your first name, nor is it your middle name either. How did you get the name Roxy? Where did that come from?
It came. I got it before I was born, Scott. My dad gave it to me. My mom was like about 6 or 7 months pregnant with me, and she gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And my dad was a really good amateur golfer that potentially could have tried to make it professionally, but he had a caddy's name who was Roxy.
Oh.
And so in the middle of the night, he rolls over like half asleep, probably thinking about that putt he missed on 16, buddy. Hey, Roxy, where are you going? And it just stuck. They didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl. And even though I'm named after my great-grandfather who had passed away, I was given this nickname before I was born, and it just stuck. And even people would ask, how my mom was feeling while she was still pregnant with me. It wasn't how's the baby, how's Roxy doing? Because everybody knew that's what I was going to be called. But even though I was given that name after my great-grandfather.
I love that. That's an incredible story. Are you any good at golf now? That's the real question.
I am absolutely extremely mediocre.
Hey, there's nothing better than being extremely mediocre in anything in life. So good for you.
It's fair. I get as frustrated on the golf course as everybody else does.
I'm right there with you. Do you follow the Ryder Cup at all? Is that something?
I will follow the big events, whether it's the majors. So I'll be tuned in to watch it this weekend. It's kind of when everybody kind of galvanizes around the country, right? It's like all of a sudden when the World Cup pops around or any international competition, and this is certainly intrigue because it's the United States against the best golfers from Europe. And so, I'll be tuned in. By the way, did you see Ed Orgeron at the practice round the other day?
I did not.
There was a clip going around on social media of Coach O trying to lead the chant at one of the holes, USA, USA. And in only Ed Orgeron fashion, it was pretty comical, actually. But the people were buying in. He was getting them all jacked up for the Ryder Cup coming up.
I need a ham sandwich. You give me a ham sandwich. That's what I need. That's awesome. Okay. We're reeling right here in the state of Utah. At least the Utah fans are. With last week and Texas Tech. Just briefly, give me some of your thoughts about the game last week and kind of where we all go from here.
It was disappointing, right? Because there was so much buildup coming into that game for the Utes and huge Big 12 showdown with a national audience for that matchup. And unfortunately, it didn't go the way Utah wanted it to go. And I think when the surprising thing to me, Scott, look, you had a much better vantage point of it than I did, but it was just in the manner that Utah lost the game because I feel that Utah's strength, and it didn't come to fruition in that game. The score's not indicative of how the game was going, right? It was a close ball game until Texas Tech pulled away late. But I think the frustrating thing is to be at home and have that opportunity and it kind of got away from Utah. The way that Texas Tech was able to control the line of scrimmage, I think, was surprising, and how they outgained Utah by a couple of 100 yards. But even with – and the other thing that was surprising is all the penalties in that game that went against Texas Tech, yet Utah couldn't capitalize on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they just couldn't capitalize on anything. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
they have this new rule.
Execution for Texas Tech was another thing that was a little surprising for me.
Do you think some of that with these teams is, they're both kind of new? I mean, they Utah revamped almost half of its roster. Texas Tech very publicly and famously brought in quite a lot of high profile names and changed a lot of its roster. Do you think that kind of plays into sloppy play and penalties and kind of the way the clunkiness of that whole game and the fact that, hey, we're all still trying to get to know each other and get on the same page in a big game kind of environment?
I think so. But everybody's dealing with that. In this day and age in college football, when you look at the rosters, and it's free year-to-year free agency, which it's hard to keep your roster together. And everybody thinks the grass is always greener somewhere else, and that's not always the case. But when a school like Texas Tech throws around the money that they did, that they're trying to bring in the best talent, and they've got terrific talent. That was clear on display.
Yeah.
And maybe they're the team to beat in the Big 12 now after that effort against Utah on Saturday. I think that TCU is really good also. I really like the team that Sonny Dykes has had. I had their game a couple of weeks ago, and then they handled SMU on Saturday. It's a league that I still think is pretty open, but we're starting to see a little bit of separation because I think Iowa State's really good also. But when this day and age in college athletics, year-to-year roster management is so critical in finding pieces that fit. And not only did Texas Tech throw a lot of money at it, I think they threw a lot of money at people that fit what they're trying to do. And the talent evaluation is just as important, I think, in this day and age of college football.
Boy, it sure feels like it. And it's something that I've been fascinated with, okay, you get all these players, but, do they gel? When do they fit together? And, it'll be interesting to see how it actually plays out and vets itself out over the course of the season. Utah plays West Virginia this week. Is this a good game for Utah? What do you think needs to happen for the Utes to get a win at West Virginia?
I just think they need to go back to doing what they do, and that's controlling the line of scrimmage, because that's over the years, as you know better than anybody, that's what the trademark of Kyle Whittingham's teams have been.
Yeah.
Is at the point of attack, win the line of scrimmage. And when his best teams, that's where they won games. They've had talented people, as we know, whether it's at linebacker, defensive back, which we've seen the guys contributing in the NFL, some outstanding players offensively as well. But for me, when I always come back to thinking of Utah teams and when they've had winning squads, it's about offensive and defensive line and winning that line of scrimmage. That's what they need to get back to. And that didn't happen on Saturday, but that's what they need to get back to against the Mountaineers on Saturday.
Mike Gundy gets fired. Was that a surprise to you? Did you see it coming, or what are your thoughts on him getting fired?
I was surprised just because of the success he had over the years.
Yeah.
And how he elevated that program. And he's one of the beloved sons of that school,
Right.
Not only did he have success as a coach, and far and away the most successful coach that Oklahoma State has ever had. I mean, you look at the winning percentage prior to him taking over as a program, and it was under 50%. And Mike Gundy, during the course of his lengthy career there in Stillwater, had won better than 65% of his games. Personally, I thought he deserved better, because I think he'd earned it to kind of look, hey, we need to make a change. All right, come up with a contingency plan to go out that'll make everybody happy. Because it was clear to me that they needed a new voice and a new direction, that it kind of stalled under Mike Gundy, and to go in a different direction. But to me, I think he deserved a better outcome than he got. And that's unfortunate. But the one thing I don't like, and it's not just the Gundy situation, Scott, it's the trend in college football right now. You see it at Virginia Tech, Deshaun Foster at UCLA, that you're firing these coaches early in the year. I get it. It's a different era and a different game now, and it is kind of professional, right, because the players are getting paid. But at the end of the day, it's still college athletics, unless there's some transgression, some off-the-field incidents. There is disgrace to the program. I don't think these changes should be made. Like Deshaun Foster thrown to the Wolves after, 15 games? And I feel for him that he was put in a situation to fail. It's not on Deshaun Foster. That should be on Martin Jarman, the AD at UCLA.
Do you think you mentioned this and these coaches early on, and what do you think the reason for that is? Is it to go out and get get in line for the best and the hottest new prospect out there? What's the strategy behind firing all these guys so early?
I'd like to know the thought process on it too, Scott, because look, if you're going to make a change, you already know it's coming. So you're getting a head start. And I guarantee if every athletic director has a list of coaches in their desk that if they were to make a change or their coach was going to leave and take another job, that they're prepared and they're ready to make that move. That's on them. That's part of the job description of these athletic directors. And where it's Oklahoma State or, as I mentioned, Martin Jarman at UCLA, Virginia Tech, Stanford. I know Andrew Luck is already working on his list for when, the interim coach is Frank Reich for the year. That's part of your job description. So even though you're making this change, the perception is that you're getting a leg up on the competition, but in reality, you're really not, because if you're going to hire a coach from a sitting program, more than likely that coach has a job right now. So you're not having those discussions until much later in the process. I don't understand the mindset. Are you signaling to your fan base? Are you signaling to your locker room? I don't get why you make that change. I don't understand where that message is going, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't either. Interesting. It'd be interesting to say, what were you guys thinking? And why were you thinking it? I might go ask someone that question. Probably won't get a right answer. Okay. Hey, it's that very exciting time of Major League Baseball. A lot of interesting playoff races last week of the season. Talk to me about some of these intriguing playoff matchups.
Well, it's funny because I was kind of against the third wild card, Scott, coming in. I thought it might water down the postseason for baseball, but that third wild card has actually added a lot of intrigue. And I've been very critical of Rob Manfred, some of the decisions he's made over the years, the baseball commissioner, but I think they got this one right. And, for example, there's only really two division races right now that you're paying attention to. The NL West, where the Padres have won 4 straight, and the Dodgers bullpen continues to blow games. So the Padres have snuck up on L.A., and then you look at what the Guardians have done. It is insane what Cleveland and this run that they've been on, that now they're in a tie with the Tigers, and they're playing each other head-to-head the next couple of days to see who gets a leg up in the AL Central. It is remarkable to see that. And the Yankees only a game behind Toronto right now, as the Blue Jays are kind of faltering a little bit, and the Yankees trying to make a run to win the division. And that's just a one-game lead there in the East. But then you look at the wild card, and you throw that in. For example, a team like Houston, who has been in control of the AL West for most of the year, now the Mariners have run by them. And the Astros are in danger of not even making the playoffs. And then you look at the third wild card in the National League, and Cincinnati has come out of nowhere. And the Reds, all of a sudden, are right on the heels of the Mets, as the Mets are all of a sudden, with all that money they've spent on guys like Juan Soto, et cetera, in danger of completely missing the playoffs. That, to me, has made so much intrigue. And these last few days of the season, it's going to be fascinating to watch how everything plays out.
All right, wave your crystal ball or look into it. What actually does happen? What do you think will happen? How's this thing shake out in the end?
Well, right now we could be looking at a Yankees-Red Sox wild card. And how great
Ooh.
would that be for baseball, that you have them squaring off in the wild card round? When I look at the American League, the team that really is jumping out to me and the team to beat is the Seattle Mariners. Even though the Blue Jays have been the best team consistently in the American League this year, what Seattle did at the deadline, making those 2 deals with the Diamondbacks to get Naylor and to get Suarez, the length and depth they had to their lineup, and with the starting pitching, there's some big concern right now with Brian Wu, who had to leave a start last Friday night. And the All-Star has been tremendous for Seattle this year. To me, I think they're the best team in the American League. And as we know, the best team doesn't always win it. It's the hottest team. And Cleveland is insane because you look at their metrics, they are the worst offensive team in baseball. Yet they've made up this deficit of 15 and a half games over the last couple of months and have caught the Tigers, who've now lost 7 in a row. And what Stephen Vogt has been able to do, they traded the deadline. They trade Shane Bieber to Toronto. Emmanuel Clase, they're one of the top closers in the game, is on suspension right now for a gambling investigation. Plus, they lost another starting pitcher. They gave up at the deadline, and here they are. And that is remarkable. Then I look at the National League, and the Brewers, who've been so good all year, are probably the team to beat. But the Dodgers have so much talent, yet L.A., they have all these bullpen issues. The October baseball is going to be awesome to watch. It really is going to be.
Well, I'll be tuned in and really appreciate it. And it's always nice to chat. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining the show.
Scott, anytime. Happy to join you. Have a good one.
Should I say 4? 4? All right.
No, you can leave that to me on the golf course.
All right, there he is, Roxy Bernstein. Great stuff, and he's a good dude too, and that's even better. We're gonna take a break, but when we come back, we're gonna talk about some delicious burgers. It's a hot lunch. I don't want to miss it here on the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 700 92.1 FM. All righty, sports fans, welcome on back. It's the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792.1 FM. I am Scott Mitchell, filling in for Sean, who is away on special assignment right now, saving the world. Sean is saving the world. I didn't know, maybe you didn't know that it was under attack, but it is, and he's saving it at this very moment. So we should all give thanks and praise, and everyone make sure you text Sean and tell him thank you for saving the world while you were gone.
Well, and if you feel just a little bit safer now, that's why. Because OC is on the scene wherever the world needs saving. And if you're also wondering why he's like, why Sean miss so much during the summertime? Well, he goes out and saves the world. So there you go. Can't blame him for that.
It's a weekend thing he does, and, from time to time. So.
He moonlights as a world saver.
Yeah, world saver. When I grow up, I want to be a world saver. I like that. Hey, it's hot lunchtime. BGR, Burgers Grilled Right, is, of course, our sponsor today. They brought us the Western barbecue with barbecue sauce, cheddar cheese, applewood bacon, crisp beer battered onion rings. Mention that you heard us talking about this today on ESPN 700 and get 10% off your next meal at BGR. They're located at 1202 Wilmington Avenue in Sugar House. We'll also be giving away a $10 gift card to BGR later in the show during Topical Trivia. Burger's amazing. What do you think, James?
Yeah, it was so good. I said on Monday, OC and I were kind of talking about what the menu for this week is, what they're bringing in to have a sample. When I saw it was a Western burger, I said, "Oh, I'm so excited!
Oh, yeah.
So excited! I'm a sucker for a Western burger." Scott, how about you? Like, do you like the barbecue on the burger?
Amazing, so good. And we all should be suckers for Western burgers because we're in the West, and it's very fitting and apropos.
So yeah,
there's just certain things, the sweet and the savory and the crunch of everything with the bacon and the onion rings. It's an amazing combination on top of an amazing burger. So you can't beat it.
And they
go check them out for sure.
They did it really well. They did seriously one of the best I've tasted. Lots of places do a Western burger like this. I'm not sure there's many that do it like BGR has done their Western burger that they graciously allowed us to try today, Scott. So head over there. Tell them ESPN. Tell them you heard about it on ESPN 700. You'll get 10% off your next meal at BGR 1202 Wilmington Avenue in Sugar House. Also, stay tuned during Topical Trivia. Last part of the show, you'll have a chance to win a $10 gift card to BGR. And I think you might be able to get that 10% discount if you use the gift card too. So you might as well try to do both there.
Yeah, you'll be scoring right there. That's a good deal. Hey, just want folks to know, Sister Jean is retiring. You may ask yourself, well, who's Sister Jean? Well, she became famous. She's the team chaplain for Loyola of Chicago, and of course, she was a part of their magical run. They were a 16 seed, and they made a historic run in the March Madness, and so
Final Four team.
Yeah, at 106. She's finally retiring as the chaplain. She's like, I've done my time. I've had enough of this. If only we all could just say, I want to retire from sports at 106.
Yeah.
That would be the thing. I want to retire, and then I want to get a Western burger from BGR.
and then only eat that the rest of my days at 106 on.
Yeah. So my mom, she passed away a couple of years ago. And she was 86 when she passed away. And my mom was just wonderful. She was a very, 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 very talented human being. She could do anything. She was massively talented. She drank a Coca-Cola every day of her life. Every day. I don't know that there was a day that went by that my mom did not drink a Coca-Cola. She should have ownership in the Coca-Cola bottling company, because she and even when she got older and she had health issues, she's like, I don't care, I'm gonna die drinking my Coca-Cola, and she did. And,
Coke's good for headaches, right? I'll keep drinking it. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing what it's good for. If you ever watch those videos, like it cleans up things, it takes rust
Yeah.
off of everything, keeps your parents alive well into their 80s. It's an amazing thing.
My grandma, Scott, is similar thing except Diet Coke. I don't know if you mean full blown,
No, my
fully
mom was,
sugared Coke. My
yeah,
my grandma is Diet Coke is her drink.
yeah,
Still drinks it. Has done it about every day of her life, or at
yeah.
least as long as I've known her.
My mom was the hardcore Coca-Cola drink. She drank the real stuff, not the unleaded. She did it right.
That's awesome.
Anyways, we wish Sister Jean much happiness in her retirement. And she said I just couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't show up to March Madness, and so
Say a
she
prayer
had
for
to
the
come.
team. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Man,
so
106. I mean, I hope to be retired at 106, Scott. I don't know about you.
James, I can't even count to 106. So I don't even know. I don't even know what that means. It's like all I know is that at this point in my life, it's humbling. I will just say that it's humbling every day when I get up and get it to go out of bed. I am humbled. I am humbled at how sore I am and the fact that I actually get out of bed. Uh, so so 106. I'm just taking it a day at a time right now. I think I don't want to put a number on it. I don't want to limit myself. We'll just keep going and see where it ends up.
I mean, what if it's 200? You don't want to limit yourself to 106. Yeah,
Well, let's see.
I love
Right
that.
now, so it would be 49 years from now that I would be 106.
Wow.
And what kind of technological advances are going to happen between now and the next 50 years? So 50 years ago would have been 1973,
75.
right?
Yeah.
75. I mean, yeah. I mean, um, I just think of all that's been invented since then.
Yeah.
Although they haven't really cured a lot of the health issues. So who knows? We'll see what happens in the next 50 years. I'll just stick around just to see what happens. How's that?
Yeah. What a great plan.
All right. Hey, let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk to none other than the crazy Trevor Riley here on the Sean O'Connell Show, ESPN 792.1 FM. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. It is the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792.1 FM. So proud to be a part of Utah's ESPN radio network. I'm Scott Mitchell. I think so. Not sure. I think I need to take my mother's advice and drink a Coca-Cola every day. Anyways, welcome back to the show. Fun first hour. We got so much more here to on the show, and just we're covering all the bases here, and it's going to be a ride of a lifetime. If you miss any part of it, don't fear. We're on ESPN700sports.com. You can stream us live or listen. Also, the ESPN 700 app, it's free. Just go get it. Or wherever you get your podcasts, you can tell your smart speakers, play ESPN 700. And we're on YouTube at ESPN 700 Sports, Utah. Joining the show right now is the wild and crazy and ever wise Trevor Riley, former Ute NFLer. Trevor, welcome to the show. How are you?
Scott, your voice is so soothing. I mean, it's beautiful, brother. It's good to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We had Roxy Bernstein on. I found out Roxy is not his first name. It's his nickname. Do you have a nickname, Trevor?
Well, they called me the Rattler. Caleb Schlotteroff, now a physician in Washington, state of Washington. We used to go against each other, and he used to call me the Rattlesnake. And then Kalani started calling me the Rattler, and I don't know. It kind of went away from me when I went to the pros, but that's the only nickname I ever really had, actually.
So, how much knowledge do you have about rattlesnakes? Because they're quite fascinating. If you want to know my opinion, do you know much about them?
Here's a crazy story. I'm from Valley Center, California, which is in the high desert in California.
Yeah.
So I'm near the Indian reservations. There's about 5 of them near me, Liseño Degano tribe. Anyways, I lived on a dirt farm, 12 acres, and we had off-road vehicles.
A dirt farm, meaning you farmed dirt?
Well, you could say that. It was a farm of weeds, really, but my family did farm dirt for a living, That's what we did do. We did mine and sell sand for a long time.
Oh, interesting.
Decomposed granite, nothing grows there except weeds. It's very shallow stuff. So there's snakes everywhere, rattlesnakes especially everywhere, snakes and coyotes. So my brother Bo, is on this mini quad, he's about 4 years old. It's standing still in the lawn. It's not moving, and I'm with my brother Drew, and we're about 7, 8 years old, and a baby rattler crawls right up his leg.
Oh.
And he's sitting there. We told him, don't move. And we got some rattlesnake knowledge from my mother and father about that. So my brother, cold as ice, stay still. This snake goes up one leg across the body of the quad and down the other.
Oh.
And and then when I was in Boy Scouts, we killed a rattlesnake and I bit the tail off in Boy Scouts as a manly thing. But yeah, that you asked me about rattlesnakes. I guess there's a few stories back there.
So I love rattlesnakes. It's a logo I have on my for Down and Dirty. My Down and Dirty sign actually has a rattlesnake on it. So
isn't that ironic, man? That's a small world.
Well, let me tell you about rattlesnakes. So rattlesnakes are only found in North America. And a fully mature rattlesnake has 13 rattles.
Wow.
The rattlesnake will not attack you unless you provoke it, unless you actually go into its territory. And once you do, it will fight you to the death. It will not stop. And so
I like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. And Ben Franklin actually, so when the 13 colonies were going up against the mother country, they used the rattlesnake as a kind of a calling card because it was native to North America. It was there were 13 rattles, and it was like we're here to live in peace. We're going to warn you, but if you tread on me, so don't tread on me is kind of the logo.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've seen the flag a few times, especially around these parts. I've seen it quite often, actually.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. So I think you should bring it back, Trevor. In fact, I'm going to call you the Rattler from now on.
Okay, well, I'm cool with that. You just gave me some good info. I didn't know any of that about rattlesnakes. That's fascinating. Thank you for that.
So the initial Hall of Fame list came out for the NFL. What's your feeling about just Hall of Fame lists for the NFL in general?
Well, I think Dion put it best when he said, you got the Hall of Fame, then you should have the penthouse. And what I mean by that is that you and I both know, Scott, you got compilers and then you got greatness. And I like the idea of honoring greatness. Compiling is good for baseball. It's okay in football. I'm more of a guy is when I see greatness sustained for 2 or 3 or 4 seasons, that's enough for me. When you dominate the league for 3 or 4 seasons, I mean, you think of the history of the league. What's it, 100 years old? I mean, 4% of the years of the league, I dominated. Yeah. So I see it that way. The Hall of Fame, inductions are always touchy on that because fans love them and they're good for every team should get some players in. But what do you think about that, Scott? I mean, you play with a lot of great players. You got to see
will
greatness.
Tell you, I love that definition of the Hall of Fame, actually. And I couldn't agree with it more. Compilers and then truly people that are great. Because the greatness does not happen very often. It's a very special thing. And I think of my career and I saw greatness. I played with players that were great. Dan Marino was great. I'll tell you who was great. And you'll find this surprising. Reggie Roby was a punter for the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, man.
And man, I mean, the ball sounded different when Reggie Roby punted it. It was just different.
It's like a watermelon dropping on.
Oh my goodness, it was unbelievable.
And then you played with Barry Sanders, man. If I went back and yesterday, I was watching something and they were mentioning Dan Marino's stats in 1984. Go look those up. 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns in 84. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. In 1984.
Dude, that ball exploded out of his hand, dude. It was like a cannon. And then obviously Barry Sanders, I mean he's the greatest who's ever lived in my opinion.
So Barry Sanders is interesting. And I've had some hot takes on Barry Sanders in my time with Barry. Cuz as a runner, like there's nobody better than Barry Sanders. I could show you reel after reel of Hall of Famers that Barry Sanders just made look silly.
Oh.
Just guy after guy. I mean, it was insane what he did. In fact, I was, because you hand the ball off as a quarterback, you're supposed to carry out your fake and all that stuff. I was like, I just got caught peeking, because I was like, I want to see this because something amazing is probably going to happen. And that was the mystique of Barry, that anytime you touched the ball, you were going to see something insanely, marvelous and crazy. And not many people could do it.
I was fortunate enough to watch him as a child. I had his trading cards. But he, to me, defines kind of what we were talking about. 9 years, him and Jim Brown. I said, why didn't you play longer? He's like, why? I've been the best for so many years. I'm bored. I'm good. I want to go do movies with Jim Brown. Or Barry wants to go be a fan, whatever he was doing. But when you can dominate like that and then just walk away, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Even Marino, I mean, he played 15 years, but he probably could have stretched out into 3 or 4, but he was so dominant, man. And so I got to play with Tom. I got to play with Gronkowski. I got to play with Brandon Marshall. And, he's not going to probably get in. But some of those guys, I want to ask you, Scott, any guys that you played with, especially in Detroit, you're like, man, if we were on a good team, this guy would probably be a Hall of Famer. Guy that comes to my mind, you play with Herman Moore. I remember watching him dominate. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Robert Porsche was good too, I guess.
It's a great question. And we actually talked about it in the first segment on the show, just about how so much of circumstance could have changed the course of a lot of people's history. And Herman's one. There was a stretch of time that when Herman and I played together where there wasn't a better wide receiver in the NFL. And I'll just tell you, I would pick Herman Moore to throw the ball to up against anybody.
Yeah.
And the challenge, the thing that we just ran into is that our time together was short. It was 5 seasons, and that was it. And it was pretty spectacular in those 5 seasons together. But we've talked about it many times through the years. It's like, boy, I wish they'd have just given us, 5 more years at least. Or even more than, we certainly could have played more than 5 more years together, but we would be talked about in a different voice for sure. There's been significant coaching changes in college football early. Virginia Tech, of course, Mike Gundy yesterday at Oklahoma State, Deshaun Foster at UCLA. And interesting, Deshaun Foster, Mike Gundy, both former players of those universities, iconic players. What's your thoughts on why these coaches are getting fired so early? This doesn't seem like a normal thing in college football.
Well, a couple hot takes. Okay, T. Boone Pickens was the original NIL, from what I hear. Okay, I can't confirm or deny that. I just heard that on the street, but you hear things, that in locker rooms, and you get to the pros, you hear about what happened and why would people lie, right? And then another thing that comes to mind, Deion said it again today. I was following his press conference about BYU. They're playing BYU this weekend. He was saying, if we don't we get who we want, and if we don't get him, it's usually because somebody offered more money. And there's a lot of that. I mean, Clemson, he's on the hot seat now. Don't get it twisted. They're not going to go 2-10 and let that go real lightly over there either.
Yeah.
And Coach Witt, he's not feeling really the heat, but we don't want to start losing, right? That's not a good thing. And so young people will find reasons to get rid of old coaches if they don't win. I think you and I know that from, going all the way back, man. Tom Landry, if you ain't winning, we'll get rid of you. And eventually there becomes a time. I mean, another name that comes to mind, did Joe Paterno stay on a little too long maybe? Bobby Bowden. Some of these guys, they stick around and then they end up not even coaching. And then the word gets out, hey, they're just CEOing the thing. And then if you lose, then the heat gets real hot because now you're not working. And I can't speak for every coach on that, but I just know that that's the thing that happens, especially with older coaches. And now in the NIL thing, Scott, it's really a salary cap league, right? And the salary cap is based on whatever money you can scrounge together. So if you're not scrounging, you're not paying. And if you're not paying, you're not playing well, as per Oklahoma State.
T-Bone Pickens. Wow, you brought out a name right there. I love that.
He's 6 feet under, but he did a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, Utah plays West Virginia this week. Just some thoughts about the game and what we can expect. What do you think it's going to take for Utah to win?
I've stayed at the Marriott in Morgantown, and fantastic hillbilly city, I got to tell you. But Morgantown can be a rough place. All right, I think we're going. Are we going there? If I'm not mistaken.
We are. Yeah.
Okay, we're going there. That's a long flight, and but Utah, I think will respond. We don't lose 2 in a row too often around here. I think that we're probably favored. What are we favored by? 5-7.
Yeah.
And
I don't know exactly, but I know we're favored.
And I said early on, I think we talked about it early on, Scott. I think Utah will be favored in almost every game this season.
Oh.
Maybe not BYU, right, if they keep winning. But, I look at the schedule. Iowa State, there's a few teams in the Big 12, but thinking about Utah, right, I think that we need to do a better job at making big plays. We lacked plays over 10 yards. At one point they had 9 of them in the game, and we had 0. So there's a lot of things that go on there. We can't, number one, can't fumble anymore. If he's listening, quit fumbling. High and tight, 7 points of pressure. We don't want to see that anymore. 18, you got to make some plays down the field, buddy. You're getting paid a lot of money. You should be making plays down that field. That pirouette here, you got to make that play. And some of those guys, right, Scott, you know what I'm talking about. We need some of those explosive plays. It came out in the media last week. They said, maybe this is not who we are. Well, we need to figure out a way to get those plays. So I think that'll be a big thing of emphasis this week.
Do you think it's so you say, how do you get those plays? How do you get those plays? How do you get the big plays? Is it do you call plays differently? Do you do guys just need to step it up? What creates bigger plays?
I watch Baltimore, and they have similar personnel to Utah. Okay, their best player is the tight end outside of the quarterback. And when they need a guy to have it, he goes and makes it happen. 88 seems like he might be that guy, but it gets real easy to double a tight end, okay? You can put a linebacker over him and beat him up at line of scrimmage, and you got to go. It's easy to double tight ends. Now, we got to find somebody who can stretch the field on the outside. 9, or who's the receiver from New Mexico? Davis, right?
Ryan Davis, yeah.
He's done well in those plays under 12 to 15 yards, but we got to have that down the field. Scott, you talked about Herman Moore. That was his biggest asset. He could go get it. It's a touchdown waiting to happen. We got to find that on the roster, and they got to find that in the playbook, and then we got to execute. I think, we're not used to turning the ball over, like we did last week a little bit, and just, those can't happen when you're running a ball control type of offense. You cannot turn the ball over. Can't stress that enough. You can't turn the ball over, but Mike Leach could turn that over a few times because he could score in 10 seconds.
Yep.
So we got to see that, Scott. I think it'll be generated. The OC will have some stuff. There'll be some more trick plays or something. But we got to find someone on that roster who's going to go down the field and make some plays.
I had Sly on the show yesterday. Actually, I was with Spence Checketts on the drive. And 23 missed tackles in the game defensively. What causes missed tackles? How do you I'm curious to get your take on how do you fix that? How do you practice tackling?
That's a great question. I have an old adage I use. I was the head coach of my son's Pop Warner team. See what you hit what you see. All right? That's it. See what you're looking at, and then go hit it. Now, that sounds easy, but really what you're talking about is taking the extra stride instead of reaching. Go back and watch the tape. We're reaching too much. You got to take the extra step, put a shoulder on them or a face, right? However you're taught. But that's really the thing is we got to run a little bit harder the ball, okay? We got to take an extra stride. At the same time, give them credit. This is a top 10 team. I'm betting they're going to be a top 10 team in 2 weeks. All right, they win this week. They're good. And that backup quarterback is probably better than the starter. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but I went back and watched the tape. Mechanically, the poise, he looks like a real dude, Scott. He looked really, really good. So they're good too. But we didn't tackle in training camp. Coach Wood said it. And so it's a bet that you're going to get better as the season goes on. So we're hoping we don't fizzle out and to get injured, week 8 or 9. So maybe we lose 1 or 2, but then we win 8 in a row, right, or 7 in a row, and then we're rolling. So there's some strategy there where you're going to give up a few things if you take that health route.
So Devin Dampier comes out, didn't practice certain days of the week, but there was never any question about whether he was going to play or not. Clearly, he was limited or tentative, and maybe he was tentative because he was injured. What do you do if Devin comes out and he's kind of in a similar situation where he can't quite go 100%? Do you just keep playing him, or do you bring in one of the other guys?
Well, it's interesting. I actually think that obviously we'll run the ball, but it might, we might have to take some more shots. I mean, 15, I know he's available. Some of these guys are going to want a red shirt too now. That's an interesting thing, especially if you're a quarterback. You're not going to burn a year. There's just too much money involved now. So all that stuff is it's real delicate behind the scenes. I'm not privy to those conversations. I just know my own experience. It's talked about quite often as a coaching staff at that position specifically. So they got a few guys, right? They got the 4-stringer, the kid from Oklahoma. He's a heck of an athlete. Can't throw real well right now, but they I don't know, man. I'm not real confident what's behind there. They don't have any game experience. Doesn't mean I'm a hater, but I ain't seen it yet.
It sounds like you're a hater, Trevor.
No, I'm just stating the obvious.
Sounds like you're rattling the rattles, Rattler.
Well, I want to see some more.
Is it Rattler or Rattler?
Well,
Rattler?
That's what Kalani used to call me, the Rattler.
Rattler.
Okay.
Rattler, I like it. All right.
But I don't know, Scott, you've been around the program longer than me, all right? You used to throw the ball down the field. Did you not?
Yeah.
Okay. That's stating the obvious again, right? And so we haven't had that because, 1 year leads to another. And here's what I'll say. I don't blame the staff as much. It's a compounding effect. If you're not throwing the ball for a year or two, kids won't come there for any amount of money to play receiver. Who's going to go to Army to play receiver? And not that we're Army, but who's going to go there to play? They ain't going.
Yeah. The challenge, with the quarterback is like his Superman power, his superpower, his strength is running. And he makes plays off of running. He's not just, I'm going to just go run for a bunch of yards. It's like, I'm going to move in the pocket. I'm going to move around and make things happen. But he, if he's limited, it's quite a predicament that you get into if that's the case. And we'll see. Apparently he's better than he was last week, and we'll see what happens. I need an update on the Islanders. What's up with the Utah Islanders?
Well, technically we're 4-1. Okay, we beat because we lose the snow. We hung in there the first half. They couldn't score on us. Right? They were struggling. Okay. Then the wheels fell off. We lost 59-7, but we did score. That was good. We had 90 days ago we had some water bins and some trainers, but no coaches or no players. So we're in the right direction. The next week we play Laverne. We beat them. Okay, Division III in LA. We go down there. The headsets don't work. We rode the bus. I flew. I drove my own car. And anyways, we stayed in this motel. We beat this team. All right, it's kind of a backyard boogie deal. We crushed them. We had a receiver who went off. Darius, the quarterback, went off. Defense played well. Then we had 2 teams cancel. They saw us against snow, and they canceled. They said we don't want it. Okay, so I'm getting 2 wins for that. And then last week on Saturday, we beat we beat the St. George Eagles, which are a similar program to ours from St. George. We walloped them by 3 scores. So I'm thinking we're sitting 4-1. Scott, what do you think?
Hey, I like the logic. I agree with you. If they forfeit the game, then they lose, and that's just the way it is. So, and if you agree to a game and then you back out, that's lame.
There you go.
Shouldn't do that.
I will say though, Scott, what I'm most happy about, and my role in the team is actually diminishing as the season goes on. It's now just helping them recruit. Well, they have the roster now, and they have the coaching staff. The point is that we have 50 kids who are going to school. and they weren't going a lot of them before we started. So I'm pretty happy about
that. It's a very good thing to be happy about. All right, Trevor. I really enjoyed our conversation, and you go rattle around Rattler.
Don't tread on me, gosh dang it!
Don't tread on the Rattler. All right, have a good day. We'll chat with you soon. Thank you.
See you, bud. Thanks, Scott.
There you have it. The Rattler, Trevor Riley. Always insightful. It's always a fun conversation with Trevor. Live Night Events presents the 2025 Granary Live Concert Series powered by Nightingale College and Murdoch Hyundai, Utah's #1 Hyundai dealer. Experience outdoor concerts in the heart of downtown Salt Lake's Granary District. Find out more details on ESPN700sports.com. Hey, basketball's right around the corner, and that means Andy Larson is also around the corner. Some interesting things going on with the Jazz. I certainly want to talk to Andy about that when the Sean O'Connell Show returns here on ESPN 700 92.1 FM. All righty, sports fans, welcome back. So glad you could join the show. I'm Scott Mitchell here, filling in for Sean O'Connell. Today, he's on special assignment saving the world. He's a world saver. That's a part-time job he has. So you can thank him later when he comes back. But we're holding down the show, and we're glad to do it. I'm so glad you could join us. Been a fun show. Talked about a lot of stuff today across a lot of sports. And joining us now is a new sport that we're actually going to talk about, the Utah Jazz. Andy Larson, of course, he covers the Jazz and the NBA for the Salt Lake Tribune. Welcome to the show, Andy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not bad. You know, living the dream, and it's not a nightmare. So I'm hanging in there. It's not a bad one.
Good deal.
So I saw this thing about Ace Bailey and that he has fired his manager, Omar Cooper. Tell me what is that? What give me the insight on all that.
Yeah, it's kind of a dramatic story a little bit, but maybe this may be the conclusion. So, Omar Cooper, it was kind of his manager, not his agent, because he wasn't an official agent, didn't have the accreditation from the NBA, the Players Association and the NBA. But Omar was the person who kind of got Ace Bailey into the spot he is now, which is to say that, growing up in junior high and high school, Omar kind of showed him through the AAU circuit and took him to different high schools and kind of shepherded him from kind of the kind of difficult neighborhood in Atlanta to becoming the kind of basketball player he is now, and made it so he went to Rutgers and got the money and so on and so forth. So he was also the manager who said that he didn't want to work out, that Ace Bailey didn't want to work out for any of the teams in the top 5, hoping to get him to fall to number 6 in Washington. And from what I'm hearing, Omar Cooper wanted to set up kind of a agency in basketball, kind of repeat this process with other young athletes in DC, and found it kind of more possible to do that in DC than kind of anywhere else in the lottery, and including Utah. From my understanding, Ace is kind of, to this point has not kind of weighed in on this and is completely fine with being in Utah, but kind of firing his agent or firing his manager, Omar Cooper, in this way shows that, hey, maybe he's looking to kind of turn a new leaf from kind of the difficulties that, and drama that Omar Cooper kind of did bring to the table over the last few months. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see which agency then he goes with moving forward. But this was kind of you may remember back in June, this was a big story as whether or not Ace wanted to play in Utah, given what Omar Cooper said. And now, if the ties have been cut between the two, and Omar's is out of the picture, as it seems to be the case, then I think Jazz fans kind of have less to worry about from that point of view.
So he has an agent. Does he have an agent? Is that correct, or
so he did hire a kind of an MBPA approved agent. The reporting out yesterday and today indicates that Ace has kind of cut ties with them as well. And so it's not clear who is official appointed agent through the league is right now.
Gotcha. Do a lot of players have a manager like this? Is this an unusual thing? I personally have never heard of a manager. I mean, I know people have an entourage or they have a team, and they what is it? Well, first of all, is this a normal thing, or is this just kind of an odd thing for this one situation?
No, I think it's fair to say this is an odd thing. I would say that there are a number of people, agents and non-agents, who look to establish relationships with young, extremely talented basketball stars and kind of shepherd them through, again, their young basketball careers in order to, hopefully become their agent later on and get the financial rewards of working with an NBA player, right? This is not unusual from that point of view. I think what is unusual is Omar kind of stepping in as much as he had in the draft process, and kind of continuing to work with him and kind of representing him despite not having that agent accreditation. That is definitely unusual.
So did you think that this had an impact on where Ace went? Because it was always kind of 1, 2, 3, and he was number 3. Did it have an impact on him? Hey, we don't want to deal with this guy because he's weird, or we're not really comfortable because he didn't work out?
It's not clear because I think there were question marks with Ace in the draft that did not have anything to do with this. And the reporting after the draft in June was that basically it was more about those things, what Ace didn't do on the court. Kind of some of the passing troubles he had at Rutgers last year, maybe kind of some of the defensive up and downs that he had last year, more so than he didn't work out. That being said, I do think working out with a team is an important part of the process for some teams and not others. The Jazz, we know, have taken multiple players who didn't end up working out with them. And the Jazz and the Angels kind of felt comfortable going into the process that did have a little bit of drama and saying, no, we just believe that you're the best player available, and so we are going to take you. I still think Charlotte takes Con Kniffel because that's the kind of player that they were looking for their team right now. But yeah, I think that is kind of a open question. And I think there are a lot of teams that were surprised that the Jazz went that direction because of the kind of the personality question marks surrounding Ace that seem to be mostly Omar Cooper related and not Ace Bailey related.
When I first read through this and heard it, my initial blush was, oh man, that's pretty mature, of a player, the kid this young. And so often you surround yourself with people and it takes you a few years before you go, yeah, that's not really where I want to go with things. And sometimes the lesson's pretty painful. A lot of times it's financially, you go, wow, this guy really didn't have my best interest at heart. Or you could go, yeah, he's just a real immature kid and just, doesn't, fire a guy, he'll do all these things. He doesn't, he's kind of does things on a whim. I'm curious, what's your take on it? Do you think this was a good sign? Do you think this is a good thing moving forward?
I think clearly a good thing moving forward. I think from a Jazz point of view, from a Jazz fan point of view, from a relationship between the Jazz and Ace Bailey point of view, this is a great thing for kind of everyone involved. I do think it's kind of a good thing for Ace as well to not have to essentially get a more established agent who, frankly, will give him better advice, right? It is troubling that that Omar kind of went through all the trouble to make sure that he didn't work out and kind of guaranteed this destination for him at number 6, and then didn't check the boxes to make sure that he would actually fall to number 6 and the Washington Wizards. So I don't think Omar was a particularly successful agent in getting done what he wanted. So yeah, no, I think this is a good thing. I also kind of shared that same question of okay, why did this happen, right? And why now, right? Why right before training camp?
Right.
And I think that's something that we'll probably have to learn next week when we talk to him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when media day is on Monday, training camp begins Tuesday. We get the chance to talk to Ace kind of multiple times over the week. We will ask, what is it that kind of led to you moving on from Omar Cooper, right? And I don't know what that answer is, but I do think it's really interesting because he was there and was such a important part of Ace becoming a star and becoming a number 5 player in the draft. That it's something, I'm not sure at what point, maybe someone else started giving him advice, or maybe he realized that this was hurting him, but I do kind of agree with you that it shows some maturity, or at least, some recognition of what was going on as a result of Omar's decisions.
You mentioned training camp starts next week, and of course preseason shortly after that. What do you think of this team this year? Kind of the direction. It looks like the team's gonna let all the young kids play. Just let the young kids play. What does that look like, and what should we expect?
Yeah, they lost or traded John Collins and Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, kind of the veterans who had been soaking up minutes ahead of a lot of the young players, So I think that means now we see a lot more Bryce Sensabaugh. We're going to see Taylor Hendricks back and healthy, We're going to see, obviously Ace Bailey. We're going to see Walter Clayton Jr. We're going to see all these kind of players that may not have had the playing time last season because of the established veterans being here. there are some established veterans still on this roster, right? Like there's Kyle Anderson, there's Kevin Love. It's not clear what's going to happen with them yet, but presumably should get less playing time than Colin Sexton and John Collins did, because those are just simply better players than Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love. So that makes it, for me, that's the interesting part is okay, which of these young players is going to be part of the next good Jazz team? And I don't think anyone expects the next good Jazz team to be this year, right? But there's 8 guys who the Jazz have drafted now in the last 3 seasons, all kind of under the age of 23, 24. Like these are prospects that now, okay, all of a sudden you have to make extension decisions on, and who is actually going to be good enough, right, to win in the NBA. And we're going to learn that this year. So that to me is kind of what I am watching for. What that means is probably the basketball is going to be pretty sloppy at times, right? Like there's a reason this team is projected to win 18 games by like the Vegas odds makers, is that the talent on the roster does not look like it's going to be winning a lot of games. And, heck, maybe at some point they trade Lauri Markkanen and so on, right? Like, but it is going to be sloppy. There are going to be mistakes, but it will kind of be refreshing to have the team totally be in the realm of just playing the young guys and seeing what they're all about.
When I played in the NFL, you'd have preseason, and they'd have certain players play with certain other players. And so if you were someone who was a good player, you played in the game with other good players. And 1, to help you to get better, and 2, to kind of protect you from getting hurt. I know that injuries aren't necessarily a problem in the NBA by certain guys playing, but the thing that always perplexes me about this strategy is, how do these players get better if they're all inexperienced, they're all young, and then there's one guy like Lauri on the court and going, okay, guys, this is how do you expect them to improve, and is that the best strategy to find out who these players are?
Yeah, like I think there are competing schools of thought there, right? Like there's you want to have like a veteran to teach a young player on how to play in the NBA and the tricks of the trade and so forth. And then there's kind of the idea of like, no, you should, the best teacher is experience, and giving the young players the experience of what it's like in the NBA and discover that for themselves is the right way to go. And these guys, all have kind of individual player trainers and coaches as well, right? Like, and the Jazz's coaching staff, if you look at the bench, is just as big as the Jazz's roster, right? Like there's one coach per player almost. And that means you do have kind of like that individual instruction. I will say, like, I don't think that the previous approach was really working. Like, as much as John Collins and Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson were good players, I don't know that they were like imparting wisdom onto Taylor Hendricks and et cetera, and Keontae George and et cetera, that are making them into the stars of the future, right? Like in the end, the Jazz were bad last season in part because the young players were replacement level guys. And so the veteran strategy wasn't really working. And so I think like this may make them better, and we'll see. And then also has that side benefit that we've talked about for years now, which is also you're going to be a bad basketball team and probably get a pretty good draft pick next year, which obviously the Jazz are thinking about.
So who do you think emerges from all of these players? You saw Bryce Sensabaugh play quite well in his limited action. Kyle Filipowski shows something. It looks like Walker Kessler, Walter Clayton Jr. looked good at, in certain situations. Who of all this conglomeration of draft picks over the last couple of years, who do you, Andy Larson, think will make the grade and be part of this Jazz team moving forward in a significant way?
Yeah, it's tough because like, my opinion on this kind of changes. Even last season, like kind of by the game, by the week. We learned a lot in summer league. There are times when the guys have flashes and look good, and then there are times where, frankly, they don't have the efficiency or don't have the defense to play for other NBA teams. I would say I was really encouraged by what Kyle Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh showed in summer league, right? And I think those who have the shooting talent to hang on an NBA floor. Now, the question is, do they have the defense to hang on the NBA floor? And we'll see. Kyle Filipowski has it on the perimeter, but not as much on the interior. He needs to get stronger. He needs to get tougher down low. That's the kind of thing that does improve over time, so you feel good about it. But anyway, Bryce Sensabaugh, needs to get faster and needs to use his kind of physicality more on defense. And we'll hope to see more of that this year and try to get him in those tricky positions. I have no idea what Taylor Hendricks is, right? Like, he is, from his rookie year and the 3 games we saw him, he is a defensive first forward, and then the offense is a big question mark. We don't know kind of whether or not he'll be able to stick on the floor, but we'll see. You mentioned Walker Kessler. I think it's extremely clear what Walker is right now is, like, clearly an NBA player, clearly an NBA starting caliber center. So that's, like, kind of the one thing the Jazz do have, and they acquired him in trade. That wasn't one of the draft picks, but and then obviously the most interesting one and the guy with the most potential is Ace Bailey, because no one else can score like Ace Bailey does, and no one else is as athletic as Ace Bailey is. So, but there's so much that he has to learn. Like, I think he's probably an NBA player, kind of worst case, but there is an outcome where, like, he just isn't efficient enough to really be who he thinks he is, and then does he have kind of the non-star attributes, the passing, the defense, and so on, to stick is a question. So, yeah, we'll see. Like, that's kind of the fun part, is none of these guys are sure things, and the season's going to tell us a lot. I think, like, the odds are probably half are NBA players and half aren't. Like, and it's going to be kind of a tough culling process, but that's what the NBA is. That's what professional sports is. We'll see.
Okay, before we part ways, I need to ask you a personal question. Do you have a nickname?
Do I have a nickname? No,
yeah.
Like, some people call me Blarson, because my Twitter handle is Andy B.
Oh,
Blarson,
yeah.
and so, like, they just shove the Blarson together there. But not really. I guess my full government name is Andrew, so Andy is a nickname in itself.
Ah, there you go. And it was on the shoe in Toy Story. So you're maybe you should be called the Boot.
Boot.
You're the Boot.
Okay.
Yeah, because your name shows up on the boot. All right, I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna get you a good nickname.
Yeah.
I like Blarson. It's not so bad. It's not a bad one.
That's definitely what OC calls me. So There you go.
All right, Blarson. We'll catch you later. Thank you so much. It's great stuff, by the way. I'm fascinated by all of this, and of course, we love our Jazz and want them to do well. So, have a great day, and I appreciate you coming on.
Sounds good. Thanks, Scott.
There you have it, Andy Blarson. He's the Jazz beat writer and NBA beat writer for the Salt Lake Tribune, and it's at Andy B. Larson if you're interested, and you should be. We'll take another break, and we got a dump. We got a daily dump that we're gonna take care of here in the next segment. Got a lot to talk about there. When the Sean O'Connell Show returns here on ESPN 792.1 FM. All right, welcome back. It is the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Scott Mitchell filling in for Sean, who's away on special assignment. That's right. It's a daily dump. Hot headlines. Here's one for you. The first ever Utah Mammoth jerseys available to fans beginning October 2nd. Home and away jerseys will debut at the team store inside the Delta Center and online at mammothteamstore.com. Now, I have a Utah Hockey Club sweater and all that fun stuff. Are you getting a Mammoth jersey, James?
I don't know, because jerseys have gotten so expensive, Scott.
Yeah.
If I do, I might have to go the more affordable route. Get the alternative route of getting jerseys that are not necessarily authentic. If I do that, I might look into that, because these sweaters, they're so cool. Like, I put the pictures here on the rundown here. The black home jerseys look sweet with that Mammoth logo.
The Mammoth does look good
in the middle there. So I it's not that I don't want them. They're just, I don't know if I want to throw that kind of dough around for a jersey. So we'll see. I may end up going, you know what? It's worth it once I see these in person at the Delta Center. But yeah, really exciting to see that these are finally dropping for fans to start buying some of these sweaters, and we'll see. I'm sure we'll still see a bunch of the old Utah Hockey Club, the black home jerseys with just Utah in the middle there, and not the Mammoth logo. We'll see a bunch of people still sporting those from what they bought last year, but it'll be fun to see more of these around the arena in the new Delta Center. Newly renovated Delta Center, to make hockey much better to watch there, too. So super excited about this drop.
I just realized something looking at these photos that you have of the jerseys, home and away, and I'm looking at the Mammoth logo. Now, what I just realized is the Mammoth logo also could double as mountains.
Yeah, they've got the mountain peaks at the top there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's if you think of the kind of the head of the mammoth and then the tusks go forward, that head part is kind of in the form of a mountain. It's kind of a cool logo. I didn't realize that. So just until now, and maybe I'm like slow to the party and maybe everyone knows that, but better late than never, I guess. So there you go.
It's all good. Hockey's starting to get back into everyone's consciousness, including us here, now that we're, preseason has officially begun, and first game's 10 days or so away, so a little less than 2 weeks away. So yeah, we're getting back into the hockey groove here.
We're actually gonna have a conversation about the Mammoth here with Adrian Denny coming up in just a bit. Before we get to that, though, Oklahoma's quarterback and preseason Heisman Trophy candidate Johnny Mater has a broken hand, and he's going to miss the next 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah. Do we know if that's on his throwing hand or his offhand?
I don't know which hand. I think it might be his throwing hand. That's
a tough one.
He had surgery earlier this week, I guess. He hurt it in the Auburn game. John Mateer did. So yeah, next 3 to 4 weeks he's going to miss. You're looking at their next 3 to 4 weeks on the schedule. They have a bye this week, so pretty good time to schedule a surgery, Scott. One of those weeks you don't miss a game.
I did that, by the way, during a season.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got contacts.
Okay.
During a bye week.
Yeah, good time to take care of that stuff. Kent State the next week, which is basically another bye week. So really good timing to do this, right? Kent State's
nice.
I'm sorry. Kent State's been awful this year. So it's a home game, so they ought to be able to win that one easily. And then, though, they got number 10 Texas right now.
Which is another bye week.
The Red River shootout, Red River rivalry, and then South Carolina. So those last two games, South Carolina not ranked right now, but preseason ranked in the top 15 with Lenoris Sellers, the preseason Heisman candidate as well. Those would be tough if they don't have John Mateer for those games, Scott. But these, not having a game this week and then Kent State the next week, they should be okay. And then we'll see if he's able to get back before the Red River rivalry game or before the South Carolina game.
Yeah, Red River rivalry is a tough thing to say, by the way.
Did you see this about Tom Brady, this next thing? I don't know if you saw this before I put it down. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, before I get to that, just kind of finish my thought on the having surgery during bye week.
Yeah.
So I got contacts. So I had 2 weeks to prepare for these contacts, and went into a game after having the contacts. I said, wow, I can see great, and threw 3 interceptions in the first half of the game.
You saw those interceptions really well, though, Scott.
Way too. And so I went in at halftime. I said, this is ridiculous. Took the contacts out, and we came back, won the game. So,
so did you ever wear them during a game again?
Never wore them again. Nope. But I have had vision correction surgery with our friends at Weight Vision, and they did a number on me, and boy, I can see now. It's awesome.
It helps. All right, so it helps your radio career better than it helped your NFL career.
You have no idea. Yeah. So Tom Brady, that is correct. A lot of folks are just like, it's not fair. It's a conflict that Tom Brady gets to go into the booth with the team, and he's like a freaking owner. You know, he can kind of do all his thing.
Yeah.
And the rub is that he's also a broadcaster, and so he'll have access to other teams' coaches and players. And, you know, just so you know, I've sat in a bazillion of these production meetings with the TV people that people are referring to. So on the day before the game, or sometimes on Friday, you'll sit down in a little downtime, and you'll meet with the broadcasters, and they'll ask you information. And most of the information is really kind of how they can develop you and your personality. It's not so much the information about the game.
It's real surface level, right? Just the ways
1,000%.
Things, you know, try to get tidbits that they can use to tell the story during the broadcast.
I remember Dick Enberg was doing one of our games, and he said, I understand your coach had you do quarterback sneaks the first 3 plays of a game. And I'm like, dude, I got so freaking nervous. They had to calm me down, so they just ran me in the line of scrimmage just to let me get hit a few times before the game started. So it's just stuff like that.
And Dick Enberg said, "Oh my,
yeah.
What a story that is, Scott Mitchell."
And it's fun, you know. By the way, to meet Dick Enberg and also have him call one of your games. That's kind of because he was one of the best. He was really good, so really like that. It's and Tom Brady basically said, the people that worry about this stuff are people who are into paranoid and distrustful, and kind of the conspiracy theorist people. So not reading too much into it.
What do you think about this, Scott? Do you think that it's too much of a conflict, or do you think it's a nothing burger like Tom Brady's trying to say here?
Well, I think it would be really hard in the capacity as a broadcaster to glean information that's like gonna really move the needle and give the Raiders a big advantage. Now, people said, like, I think the Raiders played Washington, and then he broadcast the Washington Redskins Giants, like the first game of the season, and then a few weeks later the Raiders played there, and then he's doing a Chicago game, and then the Raiders going to go play there later.
Oh, so
the concern is that he's going to give people a lot of information. I'll just tell you, guys who went to other teams, like they played on one team and they went to a new team the next year, you don't get information out of those guys, and they know all of the information. Like, they know all the secrets and all the details, and most defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators go, I don't want to talk to that guy. Like he's not going to do, help me with any kind of information. So very hard for anything meaningful to come out of what Tom Brady's doing that's going to really move the needle as to benefit the Raiders, on the field. And the Raiders aren't playing very well either right now, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Yeah, Tom Brady's like, look, I love football. I want to be a great ambassador to it, and he is. I mean, Tom Brady needs to be as forward-facing in the NFL as anyone that's associated with the NFL.
Yeah, my concern is not with he's giving valuable information to the Raiders from what he's gleaning from these production meetings you're talking about, calling games and what have you. My concern is, like, just don't even look like you're in a compromising position. And him wearing, not him being in the coach's box necessarily, but him wearing a headset, and it's just a terrible look. Like, don't allow him to give off that bad look, I guess. But that's not near as concerning as people are making out to be at the same time, Scott.
I think it's awesome that he wears the headset. Again, they're not doing very well. It's not like he's
Yeah,
helping
it's
them
not
out.
like it's helping them out very much.
No. Mm-mm. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, oh boy, we have let's see, what do we have here? We have Adrian Denny, Between the Pipes. We're going to talk about the Mammoth. So this will be fun. Great conversation. They're right in the middle of or in the beginning of their training camp, and exciting season. Great, they got a new facility, just so much exciting, and a lot of expectations about the Mammoth this year. We'll talk about all that and so much more when the Sean O'Connell Show returns here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It is the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 700, 92.1 FM. Scott Mitchell filling in for Sean today. He's off. He's a world saver. He's off saving the world and doing it one day at a time, one thing at a time. Can't tell you where he is because it's top secret, but he is saving the world. So we all can rest easier. The show's been fun today. Oh man, I really enjoyed it. A lot of great conversations, a lot of great people. And of course, if you miss a part of our show, don't fret. Don't worry about it. We can listen live on ESPN700sports.com. So you just go on your device and do that, or you get an app, which is free, the ESPN 700 app. And if it's free, it's for me. Of course, you can tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 700. We're also on YouTube at ESPN 700 Sports Utah. So it's been a very fun show today, and it will continue to be a fun show. And we, of course, we're talking a little bit about Tom Brady and kind of the impact of Tom Brady in the previous section as an owner of the Raiders. Now, and some people are concerned about it. Some people are grumpy. Some people are like, it's not fair. But here's the thing, okay? If you're in a position to be like Tom Brady, do you say, oh, no, you can't do that? Like here's a guy who's an owner of an NFL team, not a majority, just a partial owner, whatever owner. And he's also, he's a broadcaster, and he's probably one of the greatest of all time in playing. So you kind of have to tip your hat to that. Like there comes a point when you just go, when does this stuff really matter? I mean, when are you just going to stop hating on a guy? Like, what does he have to do? And it's funny that people are concerned about the whole idea of him having an unfair advantage. Now, if he was taping things like was done, like the video gate or other things, and that maybe is part of the problem is Tom has been associated with flattened footballs and video images in his former organization. I don't think it's so it's not out of the realm of the possibility. It's a highly competitive business, and that for that reason people try to push the envelope on what's fair and what's right. Joining the show right now, of course, we have Between the Pipes with Adrian Denny, brought to you by Aladdin Industries and Valley Plumbing. Adrian Denny joins the program. Of course, we're going to talk all things Utah Mammoth. Adrian, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Scott. Good to talk to you again. How's it going?
I'm living the dream. It's not a nightmare, at least yet. Okay, and the nightmare won't happen if the Mammoth have a good year. So I'm pulling. I need them to have a good year this year. Anyway, so that's how it's going on my end. Do you have a nickname?
AD.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's it. That's a good name. I've asked all the guests today if they've had nicknames, and surprisingly, most of them have. So, AD, I like it. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. As you go through phases of life, various nicknames come along, but that's what we're going with right now.
Yeah. Funny.
And you never get to pick your own nickname. It's always kind of given to you, right?
Yeah. It just, and those are the best ones, when it flows and it's like and it absolutely, I have some friends from high school. We had nicknames for each other. Their personal nicknames, I can't even tell you on the air what they were. But yeah, it was one of those things. And then my uncle, I had a very colorful grandpa, and my uncle, when at my grandpa's funeral, he said, I thought my name was Godfrey David until I was 15 years old. He says, I didn't realize that my name was John. He says, that's all my days. That's all my grandpa said to me was, Godfrey David, would you please take the trash out? So it's kind of funny. But AD works. I like it.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the big thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I came back to Utah in the fall, our broadcast team just kind of caught on like everybody went with it, and sounds good to me. And now my niece and nephew call me that, my parents, and it's working out.
All right, we're gonna start a trend. AD, the big news, the top story, kind of going into camp here, is everyone has great expectations. Management, players. So what are the expectations, and nobody seems to be shying away from them.
Yeah, Scott, it's make the playoffs, be a playoff team. Last year, it wasn't as direct, but it was have a chance to make the playoffs. Put yourself in a spot to make the playoffs, and they felt that they did, right, throughout the course of it. There were some unforeseen injuries, which always happen. That felt like Utah was particularly snake bitten as far as losing two top defensemen for over half the year, but throughout the course of it, they found a way to adjust and adapt and be in the hunt going into the final week. And this year, with the third youngest team in the NHL last year being a year older and having some salary cap space in the offseason to go acquire some needs that they felt that could really improve the team for this year, next year, and the year after that. And signing Brandon Tanev and the defenseman and Nate Schmidt, who won a Stanley Cup with Florida, and adding a backup goaltender in Vitek Vanacek, they felt that with this team being 1 year older and adding some other pieces around it, all right, we're in the spot we've been building for the last 5 seasons that started in Arizona when Bill Armstrong took over as general manager. Okay, now we are in a spot where we're seriously ready to make the playoffs, so we're not going to shy away from that expectation.
So I'm curious about, like, I hear, I think people have said first year in Utah was a success. This team was going to battle and be close to the playoffs. Now it's definitely the playoffs and making some noise. What is the why is the process so long, I guess, or why does it take time to build a championship in hockey? Is that a fair question?
Absolutely. And the way that Bill Armstrong, general manager, built this team, when they got the plan in place, they looked at successful organizations, Tampa Bay, Colorado. Vegas expedited the process, but that doesn't mean that there were some things that Bill couldn't take from it, right? Florida, add them, now winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. They've all kind of had the same blueprint, and that is build from the draft. And so when Bill Armstrong took over the Coyotes in 2020 during COVID, he presented a plan that he was going to build the team through the draft, because you set your culture by bringing players in with a coaching staff, molding them, and then you get to a point you can start to add some players around him. So year one of this build, he traded everybody away right after hiring Andre Tourigny as coach. The team the year before was, again, in the final week, a chance to make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. Bill brought in his coach, Andre Tourigny, and he jokes that then he traded the entire team away because he didn't feel like that group was something that could build on to go all the way, right? Could they make the first round of the playoffs? Yes. But what's the ceiling from there? And championship has always been what Bill has been building towards with Andre Tourigny, and they both enter year number 5 really in this process. So it's build through the draft. During the course of time, bring in veterans that are going to help these guys, right? When we started this rebuild, Andrew Ladd, a Stanley Cup champion in Chicago, was there. There were guys that they brought in to help mold and grow these young players that were here for a year or two. And last year, same thing, adding Ian Cole with 2 Stanley Cup rings, Mikhail Sergachev, one of the top defensemen in the NHL in that trade with Tampa Bay, and just building the group through surrounding them in a good culture with players that have won. And now with the stock of prospects that they have that are now kind of like Dylan Guenther starting his his second full pro season in the NHL. Logan Cooley's in his third full pro season in the NHL. To add around them now, they feel like, okay, these guys are in the spot where they can now make the playoffs. And Scott, the first thing Bill did, I said, they traded the team away. They traded guys away and ended up with first-round draft picks, second-round draft picks, third-round draft picks, and just started going with that stock and adding prospects, because that's what the model showed that Stanley Cup teams had done with Tampa Bay, Colorado, with Florida, and Vegas, not through the draft, but in other ways.
And 5 of those first round picks are in camp. Of course, this year's pick is out until November. And you mentioned that they could actually all make the roster or make a roster. What's going on with these some of these newer picks?
Yeah, I think they could make an NHL roster. Is it going to be this roster? For that to be the case, there would have to be an injury where somebody didn't start the season active, right? Somebody from last year's team, or free agent signing, or trade acquisition. If that happened, or if they beat somebody out of a job, right? So these guys are in a spot where they're still so young. Could they play in the NHL? Yeah, all 5 of them could play. Is it best for the team, and is it best for them to start out this year on the roster? We'll have to wait and see if somebody beats somebody out for a job, or there's an unforeseen injury, which you obviously don't want to see. But definitely they're all ready. But another thing that's been part of the process is using the minor league affiliate, the AHL team in Tucson, the American Hockey League. It's the AAA equivalent in baseball, right? The AHL.
Yeah.
Bill Armstrong has said you can't bake long enough in the AHL. You can never play there long enough. So he's really, really been a proponent of using the minor league team, and there's a great coaching staff down there that are here in training camp right now that have had success. He sent Dylan Guenther to the AHL. He spent half of the season there 2 years ago. Barrett Hayton, who's the 5th overall pick, he spent, the equivalent of a half of a season in the AHL before he came to the NHL to make that jump. So the biggest thing is making sure if a player makes the roster, they're going to stay here and they're not going to have to go back to the AHL for 2 reasons, right? If you have to send him back to the AHL, something went wrong, right? Or he wasn't where you thought he was. He wasn't quite ready. Or maybe he was, but as a team, you're like, he's doing good, but we've got this player here that is an everyday NHLer that's going to help us win more games. And the toll that it takes just mentally, if you have to send a guy back to the American Hockey League, it's just not ideal for them. It's not ideal for you. They'd prefer that when they call a player up, a player makes a team, it's 100% overly sure, yes, he's ready to stay here and be here for his career.
Well, you mentioned players baking in the AAA affiliate, the AHL team in Tucson. And how do they know? Like, I'm just thinking of baking. I'm thinking, you stick a toothpick in a cake, and it's like, well, it's not sticking anymore. What are the things? What are the signs? Is it a gut feeling? Is it what do they look for to say, yeah, he's ready, and he's not going back down?
You can tell. We've seen younger guys down there over the years, and the first month can be a little rough. It's a great league. It's arguably the second best league in the world. And then all of a sudden something clicks. And all of a sudden they're the best player on the team and best player in the league. And you're like, okay, he's there, he's ready. And coming to the pro level, there's an adjustment to it. The size of the players, the speed, the hockey intellect. It's a major adjustment going from juniors college to the NHL, coming from Europe to the NHL, which is the case right now with Dmitry Simashev and Daniil Booth, the two top first-round picks from 2023. But that staff down there, I watched them for years. Just the way they're able to communicate with a player who's disappointed that he's in the minor leagues, who came to camp thinking he was going to make the team, but just to have the patience and be able to communicate through video, through conversations, and with elite talent, you see it click, and it's like, okay, he's ready. Here he comes. And sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's half a season. You know, you don't want to take longer than a season or two with a first rounder, but you know, I've seen it be 2.5, 3 years before, okay, everything clicks mentally, and all of a sudden this guy's dominating.
The team's 0-3 this far.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Scott, because they have the talent, right? They all have the talent. It's just the consistency and the mental capacity to mature to get to that level.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, it just passes all sports. You know, there's no better teacher than game reps, and it doesn't matter where you get them. And it's just a great way to. It's the way to really gain the experience to be successful. So the team's 0-3 in the preseason here. But tell me some standouts in so far in camp.
Yeah, Dylan Gunther had a great game on Monday night in Anaheim, and it's a 22-year-old, scored 27 goals last year. This is the first year of an 8-year contract. So, right, he's one of the stars of the team. You expect him to be your best player. But he made some comments at Media Day last week about ways that he wants to step up his game, intensify his game, some areas that he wants to focus on to score more than 27 goals. And he scored 27 goals because he's got the best shot you'll ever see, one of the best shots in the NHL, and that's why he was drafted. But he mentioned last week, he's like, I want to score goals in different ways. I want to go hard to the net. I want to crash the net. I want to get some dirty stuff out in front. And that was the goal he scored on Monday. Just kind of following a play, getting to a puck in the corner, driving it in, and getting it past the goalie. But in addition to that, his speed and just the way he was driving, you could tell from his first full season last year to this year that there had been some more progress. And anytime you can see progress from a star like that, it's pretty exciting, especially after the year that he had last year.
The practice facility is done now. Is that correct? And they're calling it the best in the NHL. That's a bold statement.
Yeah, they said top 5 in the NHL this spring when we were touring it when it was under construction. And I'm thinking, top 5. This group isn't going to build a top 5 practice facility. This group is going to do everything to make it the best. And I've never been in a facility like that. The amount of square feet is the thing that just blew me away the most. The gym has, synthetic turf. It's rock black, of course, because that's one of the 3 primary colors for the team. But the amount of space that the players have to work out, there's hot tubs that look more like Olympic-sized pools than hot tubs. There's just an amount of things there that you have in every NHL facility. But when we toured last week, it just all seemed bigger and more just kicked up another notch in terms of what it was with the space and with the amenities, and then the kitchen looks like something that you'd see in a restaurant with the counter service and the buffet, and there's a 30-foot long table for the entire team so they can all eat together, which is one thing that they wanted to do in in the players' eating areas. We want everybody eating together because we're a team. So just with the amount of space and every detail that was covered and everything, they just kind of took to another level in terms of, okay, this is what a good facility has in Florida and Seattle, Minnesota. I think those are the three top ones that have opened in the last 5 years. How do we take that and make this overwhelmingly better? And we've talked to players that have played in Florida. Kevin Stenlin was there, Vitek Vanacek too, and they both said that it's better than the one in Florida.
So what kind of impact does the practice facility have on players? Like, is it worth, wins? What's the impact?
So the goal of the practice facility from ownership, Ryan Smith and Chris Armstrong, the team president of hockey operations, have said, we want this to be a place where the players come and they don't want to leave, right? Because it's comfortable, and when you're in a work environment that feels like that, you just perform better, right? You've of course got the 2 sheets of ice, and the biggest thing there is, at a typical practice rink, at a typical hockey rink, if you're going to do, an extended practice, which we're doing in training camp, practice for 45 minutes, you come off the ice, you go to the locker room, you do some video while they do a Zamboni run and make some new ice for you, right? So you go back and skate the second half on a fresh sheet of ice. Here, with the 2 sheets of ice, they practice for 45 minutes on the south side, and then they come over to the north side. And what I felt last week watching practice for the first time there with the NHL camp was, boy, the momentum that you keep when you're going from one sheet of ice to the next without having to go to the locker room. And of course they'll do a video session or something, so that not wasting any time, right? But I felt that the momentum of the practice was just able to carry on. You didn't have to start, stop. And then inside with the player dining and the food and the stuff that they're made for breakfast and lunch is not only nutritional, but it's stuff that they want to eat, and the workout areas. And you know what it's like, Scott, as an athlete, when you walk in and you see a gym that looks like a place you want to be, right? It's not dark or small or cramped. It's open. It's light. It's just appetizing to your soul. Like, oh, I want to go work out in there. You're going to spend more time in there, and the more time you spend at work, the more you're honing your craft. So I think that was the 360 view of why we want to have the best practice facility, and just give it another reason for somebody to want to be a member of the Mammoth and come play in Utah. It's between us and another team, but mainly for being in the moment, right? Just coming to practice and feeling good when you're getting ready. There's a huge theater to do video. It's a real sight. So everybody's loved it, and it seems like talking about a practice facility, but our guys have really been blown away by what's been put together.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Amazing. So, and it gets me excited, which I think we all are. We're very excited about the season and what's going to happen. So a lot to look forward to. Really appreciate and enjoy the conversation. AD, have a great rest of your day, and thanks for your time.
Hey, Scott, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, be good. There you go. AD, Adrian Denny with the Utah Mammoth. Yeah, really excited about the season, and it's just fascinating to me just how hard it is for these players, and it's that they get drafted. You go, yeah, welcome, you're drafted in the NHL. Now you're going to go to the AHL, and see you later, and have fun for a while, and percolate and bake. Go now. You can bake in Tucson, just so you know. So excited about the Mammoth. Man, huge hockey fan. So glad that it's here in Utah. It's just an amazing thing. Hey, we're going to talk about some exciting things around the corner. I have to keep it a secret, so you got to stay tuned, and you want to stay tuned because this is going to be amazing. when the Sean O'Connell Show returns here on ESPN 792.1 FM. Hey, sports fans. Welcome back. This is the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792.1 FM. I'm Scott Mitchell filling in for Sean. I'll be here today. And then I'm going to West Virginia, Mountain Mama, Blue Ridge Mountains. Excited about this. Like I know there's a history of West Virginia football. It's one of those programs. It's kind of there. It's kind of not there. It's up and down. It's kind of like the mountains in West Virginia. They kind of go up and they go down, and that's how they are. I know a lot of players played with a lot of guys who went to West Virginia and played, and so there's a huge tradition there. Love to go places I've never been before, and this is one of them. So I really look forward to this weekend, and I really look forward to the Utes kind of getting it turned around. So. We'll see. Speaking of mountains and elevate, educate, come celebrate at Canna Fan Fest Saturday, September 27th at Granary Live. Get your free ticket now at cannafanfest.com. That's cannafanfest.com. Oh boy. So the NFL is always an intriguing thing. Thought we might spend a hot minute with what's going on around the NFL, just by way of announcement. And we'll see how smart or dumb I am. I actually picked two teams to win and go to the Super Bowl this year. Would you like to play a game, James?
I'm always up for a game, Scott.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you who they are because then there's no point in the game. Right. You get to guess. Okay, you get to guess
the teams you picked.
Mm-hmm. And I'll give you $5.
Ooh.
For if you guess, for each one you guess. So it's a total of $10.
Okay.
I'll give you $10. I'm gonna give you a $10 gift certificate. No, I'll give you a gift certificate. I'll get you a gift certificate to your choice of where you want to go have dinner. How's that?
All right.
You like this game?
All right. $10 towards dinner. High stakes here.
I wonder if we should do it for like the fans.
Yeah.
If they could guess, they could text in.
Should we have them text it right now?
Yeah, have them text in who they think my Super Bowl picks are this year in the NFL.
877-353-0700.
Yeah, text it in, and I will get a gift card. Where should we send them? And I'll do this. I'll just do this on my dime.
All right.
Where are we going to send them?
Is there a place in mind you're thinking of?
I don't know. What do you think?
Should we do what you just told me? Have them tell us where it wants.
Actually, within reason.
Within reason, yeah.
It's going to be $50.
Okay, $50. All right. So if
$50 gift card to whatever.
If you choose, So keep that in mind. If you choose like the most expensive steakhouse in the city, like you're only getting $50.
You're getting $50.
You're not getting a whole meal's worth of that. All right.
No, in fact, I'm going to all the Utah players if they want real money because those are the only people right now that have a lot of money. All the college football players.
The texts are coming in. You want my guess first, or you want me to read some of the listeners?
Okay, so they have to text the team and then they have to tell us where they want to go eat. Yeah. So tell me your picks.
Okay. Lions and Dolphins, your two former teams. No, I'm not picking the Dolphins. I'm not guessing that you picked the Dolphins. Bills. Lions, Bills.
Lions, Bills. All right. I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say. Okay. And you want me to read some of the text? They're coming in fast here. Okay.
Yeah, let's read.
Lions, Bengals is one.
Okay.
Lions, Ravens.
Why is everyone picking the Lions?
I suppose because we think of you and we think of the Lions, Scott.
Okay.
We think of starting quarterback. That's honestly, I'm like, and they're supposed to be really good. They've gotten off to a good start despite the.
So we got Lions, Bengals,
loss.
Lions, Ravens.
Lions, Bucks, so Bills, Bucks, no Lions
Bills,
there.
Bucks.
Bills, Buccaneers. All right. Chargers, Lions, and that guy wants to go to Texas Roadhouse, by the way.
Okay.
Another Chargers, Lions, Bills. That was okay. You can't just steal my guess. Come on, Texter. 1855. No, Lions, Bills. I like that. That was what I thought you'd guess. Ravens, Lions again. Another Chargers, Lions. Man, that's a popular guess.
Why has nobody picked the Eagles. Like the Eagles are the defending world champion. Why does
they're undefeated too, right?
I know,
won their,
and they've perfected the tush push. Why is no one picked the Eagles?
Scott, if you did choose Chargers Ravens, do we let this fan who said San Diego Baltimore, do we let them win even though they got the city wrong now? They're not in San Diego anymore. If that ends up being right.
In the spirit of, if it ends up being right, in the spirit of I know who the team is, because I do that all the time. Like I call teams the wrong way.
They were in San Diego for so long.
I can't hold someone to a different standard.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do it.
Chiefs. Chiefs.
In fact,
Niners
I think
again.
earlier we were talking about Phillip Rivers or Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Of course, and we said San Diego's amazing. Why would you not?
Well,
now they're in.
At the time, it would have been San Diego, so right. I think it's fair. Chiefs Niners, the Super Bowl rematch of a couple different times, and they want to go to Market Street, Scott.
Okay. I like it.
Super Bowl, another Bills Lions, Rams Bills, Chargers Lions. Man, that is a lot of people guessing Chargers Lions, Ravens Packers, another Chargers Lions. So that's your guesses so far. Couple of people have said they want to go to Texas Roadhouse. We have one Market Street.
I love Texas Roadhouse. It's a great place.
Yeah.
So what if someone has won?
Keep the text coming in. What if someone's won? So so one of those was.
How long are we going to keep this going?
I don't know. Do we want to just? Should we break, and then reveal it on the other side of the break before we do topical trivia? Should we do that?
Let's do that.
All right. Because then it gives a couple of stragglers to get their guesses in.
I'm not saying it has or it hasn't happened. I'm just saying what if. So because this was on the fly, we didn't plan this out, so we're just having some fun today. All right, let's take a break. We come back. We will reveal if someone has won or not. $50 gift card to their restaurant of choice. On me. It's on me too, by the way, people. And if they guessed my Super Bowl picks for this year, we'll let you know when the Sean O'Connell Show returns here on ESPN 792.1 FM. So glad you could be a part of our show and join us. This is the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 792.1 FM. I'm Scott Mitchell, filling in for Sean, who is off. He's a world saver. He's saving the world one fight at a time. So we're here to pick up the slack where he has left and do our duty as well. And we're here to support and do all that stuff.
We'll save the world in our own way. How about that, Scott?
That's
We're
right.
Talking on the radio.
The best way to save the world is through sports. Come on, we all know that. All right. Well, I'm not going to wait very long because this is kind of fun. I made up a game and we involved the fans. What's that?
We had a huge response.
We had a massive response to my picks for Super Bowl teams, and I said, out of my own pocket, I'm giving you a $50 gift card to the restaurant of your choice. And we did have several people who actually have won. But we can only have one winner today because this is a new game. We're just making it up as we go along. And so that winner will get a $50. It was the first person to actually text in the correct answer. And the correct answer is the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers. So those were my picks. And I'll tell you why I picked these teams, because I think that Dan Campbell's created a culture, and I think they really have a team that can win a championship if they're healthy. And I think they've got people back. Of course, the first week of the season, I'm like, ooh, they got it handed to them in Green Bay, but they've righted the ship. They've played some tough teams and won some big games. And then it's the Harbaugh factor. And Harbaugh's just won wherever he's been. And he just seems to get better and better as a coach. Justin Herbert, if you look at Justin statistically, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's learned how to win games at the end of games. And they got a great defense. They got some guys banged up and they'll get back together. But man, I've loved Justin Herbert since he was at Oregon. Thought he was massively underused there. Of course, he was massively overused against Utah in the Pac-12 championship. And so I'm a big Harbaugh fan. So, and I'm just going against the grain a little bit this year. And I just feel like it's a year to pick a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more wild pick. So,
Chargers is I mean they've got a lot of people that like them this year. Don't get me wrong, Scott, but that is a little bit out of the box pick. Lions is one that I think a lot of people, other than Eagles, that's the one that a lot of people pick to the NFC.
Yeah, and it's a battle to get through the Bills. It's going to be a battle to get through the Ravens. It's going to be a battle to get through the Chiefs. I mean, at the end of the day, those teams are going to. Those are the teams you got to beat, and I think the Chargers are equipped to do that this year. We have topical trivia right now. You want to hear
our winner, though, real quick for this one before we read the topical trivia?
Yeah.
Chase Omana, shout out to you. You win, and he wants to go to Texas Roadhouse, Scott. So
I love it.
Scott's going to give you, out of his own pocket, $50 to Texas Roadhouse. Scott, I'll just give you I've got his number here. I'll text that to you so you can get in touch with him maybe. Is that
perfect?
What we want to do?
That'll be... that'll be great.
And then, now we've got topical trivia for a $10 gift card to BGR, Burgers Grilled Right, our hot lunch sponsor for the week.
Yeah, so topical trivia today, of course, BGR gift card. Here's the question, okay? And text in 877-353-0700. This answer, you get the gift card to be. We're giving away food stuff to everyone today because, well, I'm kind of hungry. I've been on the radio here for 4 hours. I'm getting hangry. I need something to eat. You do too. So let's get something to eat and be happy. So here's the question. Since we talk so much about the Hall of Fame today, how many former University of Utah players are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? So the number of University of Utah players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Text in 877-353-0700. You win a gift card. A really interesting thing I read earlier this morning. And of course, everyone likes to do their predictions, which I did about the Super Bowl, but also these mock drafts. And I was reading one on CBS Sports, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. They have 2 University of Utah players going in the top 20 picks in the draft. Of course, Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu are both projected to go 15 and 19 in this year's NFL draft. And being at the game Saturday, and of course we're up in the press box, and It's where all of the NFL scouts hang out. There's kind of an upper little section right there, and they all hang out there, and they watch these players, and so be fascinating. That would be just absolutely incredible if these players ended up going in the draft. So, do we get answers for the trivia? Do we know that before we go off the air?
We did. We do. We
wow.
have a winner there. It is
everyone's a winner today.
I know it is 2. Our texter 1392 got that correct, and now, like, Scott, do you want to tell people who they are? They're older Utes here.
Yes,
but we love
maybe
that.
We'll get some more recent ones here.
Yeah.
My money's on Eric Weddle. I think he's maybe Steve Smith, but Steve Smith's pretty close.
I think he's got a really good chance, and Weddle is a good call too.
Yeah. Anyways, 2, Max Speedy and Larry Wilson. Larry Wilson was the inventor of the safety blitz, which caused me more havoc than I care to remember in my lifetime. If you've ever missed any part of the show, don't worry. Go to ESPN700sports.com, ESPN 700 app. It's free. You can play through your smart speaker. Just tell it to play ESPN 700. And, of course, on YouTube at ESPN700sports.com. Really appreciate everyone joining the show today. Had a lot of fun today. I hope you did as well. The Drive with Spence Checketts is next. I'm Scott Mitchell filling in on the Sean O'Connell Show here on ESPN 700 92.1 FM.